Let's look at what we're going to cover. Okay, so the roadmap for today is we're going to look at the reality of what's happening in the global markets. Now, this is not an economics lesson, right? In fact, what we're going to do is we're going to touch on the facts. There is enough noise getting created in the media about what's happening globally. So we'll dive into the facts. We'll look at the impact of the trade and construction industry and how it's impacting your communities on a local level. Importantly, we'll focus on some key actions to protect your margin. And then we'll bring in Vincent, who just specializes in the legal safeguards to give you the right information. 80%, okay, of our liquid fuel comes from Asia. It's imported. So we've got a real pressure on our logistics. There's no maritime bypass at the moment for the Strait of Hormuz. So there's a closure there, as you're aware of. Now, if that was to reopen tomorrow, information says that it could be another, 3, 6 months, even longer before things get back to normality. And what we know through COVID, particularly with increases, is that they come up, they may stabilize, but they typically don't go back to the way it was. What impact is it having on the construction sector? So you're seeing it in your materials, PVC and plastics, 27 to 36%. Your bitumen and asphalt, that's up, and your diesel blowout. We're already seeing from the tier one and tier two organizations, they're starting to abandon those they're starting to abandon those fixed price contracts and move into the cost plus models. Going into a supply level, okay, the shocks don't pass, they just reset our current cost base. And if you haven't reviewed your pricing in the last 30 days or gotten across your numbers, now is the perfect time. And the word is respond. I say respond versus react because we've got the opportunity to do something about it now and put the right measures in place that we can remain profitable across the next 6 to 12 months. How do you respond? And some great ideas around what we can do to take some action in the next 30 days. So the businesses that will survive and thrive through this period are not the ones that absorb the costs silently. They're the ones who communicate clearly, price confidently, and will get paid on time.
So number one, you should be considering including a specific cost escalation clause in the contract. Most of you will probably be using standard form contracts, whether it's your master builders, if you're in Queensland, there's a QBCC contracts, HR contracts, whatever it is. Those are usually okay. Most of them are fairly builder friendly to start with. So for the most part, they're going to be suitable for use, but you can amend them with special conditions that gives you a little bit more additional protection, which I'll talk to in a moment. One issue that we've seen with these cost escalation clauses is they need to be very specific. They need to be objective and able to be actually interpreted. So, for example, there's been cases where a builder's put a clause in a contract that basically just says, if prices go up, we can amend our price. Sounds great if you say it quickly, but it's very unlikely to be enforceable because it's basically an open-ended clause that has no way of actually being interpreted. So courts have specifically struck out those clauses, and basically, if that happens, it's got no effect whatsoever.
From Adam Travis here, Vincent, I think this is a good one. Do material escalation clauses go in special conditions section on the MBAV contracts?
Yeah,
Down in
they don't
Victoria.
have to. That's if you're using a standard form contract, that's usually the easiest way to do it. Just because they're
Yeah.
already drafted. If you've got a bespoke contract that isn't one of the standard form contracts, you can just put it in one of the standard provisions.
So we've implemented AI tools into the software. The key benefit that I always talk about is not, I don't think it's necessarily what Build Exact really sort of we're aiming for, but this is how I frame it. We have Mitre 10 price files clicking into Build Exact, and it's great, up-to-date pricing, gives you access to that data. We still see builders just go, supply and install $100 a square meter, which obviously then has issues later on down the track when it comes to cost tracking. Very hard to cost track against a really rolled up number. The thing that the AI does is it will allow you to create an estimate or create a recipe that has those items in there using the supplier pricing. So Mitre 10's pricing coming in with all of the things in there. You can save those as recipes or as templates and just rinse and repeat them for next time. And it'll just reprice based on what that current price is from Mitre 10 at that point in time. But what it really does is it makes the estimating more detailed, which normally a lot of builders just can't be bothered to do it more detailed because it takes a lot of time, right? So the AI speeds that process up. It's using live pricing. Then what happens is the ability to get an invoice in and say, hey, I've got my item breakdown from my estimate. It's now a lot easier for me to cost track. And from the data that we pulled, around 2/3 of builders that do better cost tracking will receive a higher profit margin on their projects at the end.